Colonel Patrick O'Rourke and his men from New York, they were stout-hearted men who came from Ireland, and some folks have never heard of their deeds at Gettysburg, where their brave lives were lost on a hill called Round Top.
Talking about the Patrick O'Rourke Bridge, and joining us right now is Bo Mansouri. Good to have you on the show. What was that day like for you as you walked around this bridge to see all the speakers and all the family members of the O'Rourkes?
It was excitement, it was relief, it was really exhilaration and worry, all combined into one feeling that came over me.
Excelsior Private Drum Band is being followed by the 140th New York Volunteer Infantry, accompanied by the 26th North Carolina.
God, please give us the strong desire, courage, and commitment of Colonel O'Rourke, for whom this bridge is named, to build bridges with others and to give of our resources, talents, and lives, so that indeed we may truly have life, liberty, and justice for all.
Amen. I was very impressed with the reception and with the number of people that showed up for the ceremonies, and I guess I read in the paper later that roughly 1,500 people at the bridge.
Early on it was asked, in what name shall we dedicate this bridge? So it's fitting today that we acknowledge the contributions made by Rochester's own Colonel Patrick O'Rourke, in whose name we are dedicating this bridge. Colonel O'Rourke gallantly gave his life for the United States Union in the siege of Little Round Top during the Battle of Gettysburg in 1863. As a proud new American and as a proud young Rochesterian, his contributions and sacrifice have earned him this honor. As you may know from the program, Colonel O'Rourke was the first Irish immigrant to attend West Point and was appointed to the rank of colonel by President Lincoln.
When I say that this is the launching of a new era, then I think you can see that this is not hyperbole, this is not exaggeration, but it is a well-crafted, well-planned, well-coordinated dream between various levels of government. And what our citizens come to expect of us, that we lay aside party differences and we work together for the greater improvement of our community.
As we look north, south, east, and west, lies a tremendous diamond in the rough that we have finally discovered. As Mayor Johnson mentioned, we have worked together to discover this, to finally realize one of the great assets we have are our water resources that were left undeveloped, and some of our most blighted areas were in our most valuable areas, and the most valuable asset we have, the Genesee River, Lake Ontario, and Irondequoit Bay. You are going to see in the next 5 years this area turn into a world-class waterfront community, a world-class port, a center of commerce, a gateway for tourism, a place to welcome people from all over the world, as well as a world-class place to live, raise our families, and have fun.
With us now is Terrence Rice, who's Director of Transportation in Monroe County. Good to have you on the show. What did that day feel like? What was it like to be here on this beautiful bridge during that ceremony?
Well, I had tingles at times. I think it was a culmination of a lot of years of a lot of hard work by a lot of people. First, way back in the planning, and going on into the design team that was involved in the job, and then finally with the contractor. And it was a great feeling that a lot of the people were received recognition for the hard work that they put in by the community, as well as we had the opportunity to honor one of our fallen heroes, Colonel Patrick O'Rourke.
We're here to dedicate the Patrick O'Rourke Bridge. Patrick O'Rourke was the colonel of the regiment, which the men behind me portray. He was from Rochester, New York originally, and we were reenactors of the 140th New York Infantry.
This is a very large and difficult project for our company to undertake, and there's nobody in this area that I know that could have done the job other than Craig Stevens.
With us right now is Craig Stevens, who is Vice President of Crane Hogan Construction. Good to have you on the show. What an incredible day that was.
I spent 4 years working on this project. We started with the bid of the contract, and then we worked through the construction as the general manager of the project. And the dedication ceremony was mixed feelings, or mixed emotions for us. We're glad to have it done, but in a way, this structure's become part of a lot of our lives. We've worked here for 4 years, made a lot of friendship with the employees that we had hired, also from the state and county, and not realizing at the time that this is quite a landmark structure, and we're proud to be part of that.
When the O'Rourke Memorial Society was founded 14 years ago, probably only a few hundred people in Rochester knew who Colonel O'Rourke was. But all that has changed now. We know Colonel O'Rourke on a local level as a fine young student, one of the top students in the city, and went on to become a tradesman before moving on to West Point and gaining national prominence. I want to refer to a book I borrowed from the O'Rourke family. And the book is called Brave Decisions. And the subtitle is An Inspirational Collection of Moments of Truth Facing Some of the Greatest Military Leaders Throughout History. And inside it talks in detail about the contributions and the importance of Colonel O'Rourke and the 140th role at Gettysburg. Some of the other soldiers and officers discussed in this book, and the other 15 chapters, are Ulysses S. Grant, Robert E. Lee, John J. Pershing, Douglas MacArthur, so you can see on a national level he's in pretty good company. The best way to convey what this means to the community is to talk about the many activities the community undertook to raise the awareness of Colonel O'Rourke and build momentum for an O'Rourke Memorial. Brian Bennett, a local historian, researched and published excellent histories of Colonel O'Rourke and the 140th, so the average person so that it was accessible to the average person. The Kelly and O'Hara families commissioned paintings capturing decisive moments at Gettysburg. The living history regiments like the 140th and Cushing's Battery offer us a very real experience in the sights, sounds, and smells of the Civil War. The veterans organizations, such as the American Legion and the Veterans for Veterans Connection, always promote the values of patriotism and honoring our fallen heroes. The O'Rourke Society consulted with the project team on the memorial aspects of the bridge. The community has placed a bust of Colonel O'Rourke at Hyde Falls Center. Individuals and groups regularly make appearances at schools, clubs, museums, festivals, and parades. Essays and documentaries have been written and shared via our allies in the media. Local recording artist Peg Dolan wrote a beautiful ballad called Colonel O'Rourke and His Men from New York, commemorating their victory at Gettysburg. Organizations like the Ancient Order of Hibernians and Friends and Daughters of St. Patrick have helped us with funding for our dedication plaque. The list goes on and on.
heard Patrick's booming voice saying, "Follow me, boys." Colonel Patrick O'Rourke and his men from New York, they were stout-hearted men who came from Ireland, and some folks have never heard of their deeds at Gettysburg, where their brave lives were lost on a hill called Round Top.
Why don't you describe what this is again?
The 8th Cavalry out of Rochester, New York, it was formed. But it will take in Brockport, Canandaigua, Wayne County. Those men from that area went down and fought for the cause in almost all the battles. And that includes Gettysburg and a lot more. And they were at Antietam at the end.
Well, I think any time that a public works project receives recognition from the community and from the local politicians and things is a great feeling. But I guess I would say the thing that it was also very inspiring seeing some of the O'Rourke Society and some of the other reenactors marching, and some of the things that they did as the cannons going off, as well as some of the O'Rourke family being there, as well as a descendant that goes to West Point right now, and as he talked about some of the things that he does at West Point and some of the character traits that Colonel O'Rourke had and what he needs to have. That was, but it was a great feeling, and it was good for, as I said, the people that did a lot of work to receive recognition for the hard work that they did do.
Thank you for coming. It's an honor and a privilege to be here today as we honor the life of Colonel Patrick O'Rourke. Colonel O'Rourke and I have a lot in common. We both go to West Point. He graduated #1 in his class. I'm number 875 out of 1,000 in mine. I'm sure O'Rourke at some point in his cadet career questioned his decision to attend a tough school like West Point. I know I did when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm standing out in the woods in the rain holding a rifle. What am I doing here, you know? But the one thing that we both had to deal with was our Irish mothers. So I'm sure if he was here today, he would agree with me that West Point seems like a 4-year vacation. My mom's giving me evil looks, but in all seriousness, Colonel O'Rourke was a great leader, and West Point has taught him a lot of values. One of them being fear. And at West Point, they teach you how to overcome, fear and how to use it as an ally rather than an adversary. As a plebe or a freshman, that's plebe is what we call freshmen at West Point. You're required to take boxing, and they put you in a ring with another cadet, and you guys just pound each other's brains out. But it teaches you to face fear, and to go right at it rather than to hide from it. And Colonel O'Rourke demonstrated that when he led the charge with the 140th New York Regiment down below Round Top.
Not down.
Right.
Here we go, and 3,
1, 2, 3.
Hey!
This plaque being unveiled now was donated by the Ancient Order of Hibernians in collaboration with the Colonel Patrick O'Rourke Memorial Society.
The old bridge, as you know, was 87 years old, built back in 1917, and as far back as late 60s, there were talks about replacing the old bridge. Typical life expectancy of a bridge in New York State is estimated at 50 years. So you can imagine that we had the old bridge had outlived its useful life.
There's over 35,000 cubic meters of concrete in the project. It was a mixed variation from underwater concrete to bring the piers up out of the river to your normal sidewalk concrete that was placed. There's some advanced concrete that was placed with plastic fibers in the sidewalks on the bridge deck that are new technology. And part of the biggest challenge with the concrete work was the form liners that were used for the aesthetics that the designers wanted to make it look older with stone face, which is actually all concrete. There's over 5 million pounds of steel in the contract. There was 250,000 pounds of rebar. The biggest challenge was working in the water, working amongst the navigation, coordinating things with the U.S. Coast Guard, trying to keep the local boaters happy. And in the wintertime, it gets pretty cold down here.
The new bridge has many new technical advances and benefits over the old bridge, if you will. As you know, the new bridge has 4 lanes of traffic that can go across it. It also sits about 20 feet higher than the old bridge. Structurally speaking, it eliminates the need for center span lock, which makes it less maintenance intensive when it comes to lowering the bridge and locking the 2 spans in position. Also, all the controls for the bridge are electronics and PLCs, which control the machinery and the gears. Really, there's a central electronic processor that controls the bridge, and the entire control panel is connected to a laptop computer which monitors and tracks its operation. So the bridge is state-of-the-art in design and construction.
This is a magnificent day. This has been a long time in coming. There have been just numerous people, too numerous to mention, who have played a part in making this bridge go from idea to reality. There's federal support, state support, county support, city support in this bridge. So there's a lot of symbolism here today as well. This is a gateway to our community. It connects the city and the town of Irondequoit and the community of Charlotte. It recognizes a local hero, Colonel Patrick O'Rourke. So it's really an exciting day and historic day for the community, and we're all proud to be a part of it.
I think it's great. Colonel Patrick O'Rourke was a great leader. He contributed a lot to create our nation that it is today. So I think it's a great honor that we honor this bridge in his name.
What does this day mean for Rochester?
This bridge is built by 80% federal funds. It's long in coming. I was just talking to a gentleman here who was talking about how they had planned to do it 40 years ago. It's going to be a big help here to us in moving traffic, and I'm really quite proud of it.
I think the O'Rourke family's been around the area for a long time. My understanding is some of the family members lived in this area and went to Charlotte High School. Patrick O'Rourke apparently didn't live right in this community here, but he was nearby, and he died for in service while he was out there fighting a battle for this country.
Well, I think Colonel O'Rourke was a really interesting guy who we're related to, as it happens, and did a remarkable service to the country at Gettysburg, and it was really, I think, wonderful that they dedicated this bridge to him.
Well, he's a celebrated member of the Irish community, and as a lot of our descendants are. There's a lot more O'Rourkes in the community than I realized. My mother was Corinne O'Rourke, and there's probably a dozen of us that were met today as descendants of the O'Rourke family.
We enjoyed it. Absolutely wonderful. The honor that you have given us and the family. Also, we are both from Charlotte originally, born and raised here, so this is an extra honor.
How do you feel about today, sir?
Oh, I've enjoyed it very much. It was worth coming. I live in North Carolina, so we took a little trip up and just a great day.
What are you going to remember about this day?
About the honor that have been given to Colonel O'Rourke and the family, and the recognition of all the people that have taken time and traveled here to Rochester to honor our ancestor. And as a great-grandnephew, I am very, very honored.
Colonel Patrick O'Rourke and his men from New York, they were stout-hearted men who came from Ireland.